Hello and welcome to another edition of Another Book Review. This week I'll be reviewing Ali Smith's novel, The Accidental. I'll talk very briefly about the author, go into a spoiler-free overview of the plot, talk about what I liked about the book, what I didn't like about the book, who I'd recommend the book to, and finish off with what I'll be reading for next time. Ali Smith is a fairly well-regarded Scottish author. She's written several novels that have been nominated for the Man Booker Award, which is kind of one of the most prestigious awards in England. She's also written short stories and some nonfiction work. This is the first of her stuff that I've read, and from my sense, this is kind of one of her more well-known books. What The Accidental is about is it's a novel about a family who are in a kind of home they're renting for vacation on holiday in, I think, northern England, and a mysterious woman enters their life. Her car is broken down, and she kind of integrates herself with the family. And the book is really kind of the aftermath of the woman entering their life. I think to say any more would be spoilery, so I'll kind of leave it there. And the book is kind of unique because there's a family of four. It's a wife, a husband, two children, a boy and a girl. The girl, I think, is roughly 12 in the novel, and I think the boy is 17. And each chapter is kind of told from one of their points of view, so it kind of follows that structure throughout the book. I listened to this on audiobook, so I don't have a cover to share with you, unfortunately. But as far as things that I liked about it, I did enjoy the children characters. I think that Ali Smith does a good job of capturing the 12-year-old, kind of getting into the mind of that child, and I think I found that very kind of reasonable. It's kind of commented a few times that the daughter, her name is Astrid, is kind of on the cusp of going into puberty, and she has kind of her feet in both of those worlds, and she has kind of a childlike sense of wonder as well in the book. So I thought that character was well done. I think too, the boy character, I think his name is Magnus or Magus. I think it's Magnus. He has kind of, not to give any spoilers away, he has done something and it has caused him a bunch of guilt. And I thought that what he's done, I thought was really an interesting moral position to be in. And I think that is handled well, especially in the beginning of the book, of him kind of struggling with this thing that he's done. That's kind of his secret. And I think those were the things that I liked the most about the book. Like I said, I listened to this on audiobook, and there may be things that I missed in the telling. I thought there were some points where the language, the prose was real well written, but for the most part, I kind of struggled with it because it's not I didn't find the book to be propulsive. There's not really a strong plot with it. It's really kind of the character study of this family and also this woman to some extent. The unfortunate part of the book is, even if I had some characters that I thought were interesting, like Magnus, and like Astrid, they share the screen with two other characters who are the adults in the family, the mother and the father, and I didn't find either one of them particularly interesting or likable. And so the book kind of as a whole just kind of felt like a slog. I think the book is trying to show how difficult it is for individuals to kind of work in a family unit, and how there's always going to be the push and pull of the individual versus the unit as a whole. And the book, I think, goes into things like secrets to some degree, and kind of talks about what secrets can do to a family unit, what secrets can do to a person. And so those things on the surface I think were interesting. I think the problem is, in this book, they don't serve kind of over a deeper plot than that. I thought like I said, the mother and the father character were just really, whenever they came on to it was kind of their viewpoint, the book kind of stopped cold for me. I didn't think there was a lot there to their characters. I didn't think they were particularly likable. And so that was kind of, the whole thing was, to me, kind of a difficult read to get through. It just didn't seem to move very quickly. There wasn't like a propulsion to it. I think that, excuse me, I think that some of the characters who are not these kind of main characters, and even some of the main characters, don't act in ways that quote-unquote real people would act in the quote-unquote real world. I think if you're going for a book like this that's really a character study, I think you really have to, I did at least, ask yourself, well, would this character act in this way in this situation? And it's not so much the action, it's just there's certain lines of dialogue and things that are said that I'm just like, I don't think a person would have acted or said these things in this scenario in the year 2003 when the book is set. And so I had it was a book that I personally did not enjoy. Like I said, I think that there are I think the structure is interesting. I think that the children characters are well written, but I think overall there's just not a plot to really kind of push you through the book. And I think you can get away with this if you have each chapter as a different character, but because there are only 4 really characters that we follow in the book, we kind of come back to these characters again and again and again, and the character arcs just really weren't strong enough for me to care. Even the characters that I did in the beginning find interesting, like Magnus and Astrid. Astrid, in my opinion, doesn't really have a lot to do through the book. She has something of a character development, but you get really the beginning of that character and the end of the character. The middle of that character is really kind of iffy, for me at least. And then Magnus kind of also goes from having pretty interesting moral quandary to going through a change in the middle that kind of takes him away from that. And so just overall, it didn't really gel with me. I think too, as far as recommendations, I'll start with people I would not recommend this to. If you're someone who reads for more of a plot-heavy thing, or reads for a feel-good story, I didn't really necessarily get that from this book. I think I'll also just say there is a character who is 17 who has sex with an older character. My understanding is this is considered legal to the point where, going back to, would you say this as a real person? The consent is given and consent is received. The person who is much older than that person, I know that someone could look at this relationship and view it as inappropriate. So I'll just say that. I'll leave it there. And then as far as who I would recommend it to, if you're someone who likes experimental fiction or just likes literature for the different things that it can do, the different structures, then you may like this. Like I said, there's some nice prose moments in it. I just found the characters pretty instantly dislikable. Unlikable characters, about half of them. The other half, they sometimes had their moments, but as a whole, it did not gel for me. So that really for me was The Accidental by Ali Smith. And next time I'm going to be reading Edward Abbey, The Monkey Wrench Gang. So until next time, please feel free to like the video. If you did read this book, I would be interested in hearing your thoughts because, like I said, I'm willing to accept that it may have been me. Part of, like I said, sometimes when I'm reading on audiobooks, I miss certain things, and so that may have been part of my difficulties of enjoying it. But this just felt like such a slog to me, and it didn't really feel, there's just no enjoyment for this book for me. It was really difficult to get through. So if you're someone who really enjoyed this, I would be interested to hear your thoughts. So until next time, please feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me. I'll have my link from my Twitter handle below. Until next time, bye.